In the confined space of our car, my mom's voice carried a hushed sense of apprehension. The world is so scary these days. Her fingers tapped restlessly on her phone screen, sharing an image of a Minneapolis building burning in flames on Facebook. As we followed the lanes down Highway I-35 East South, I turned my head to look over the state capitol and saw the fervent cries of protesters demanding justice for George Floyd. However, my parents held fast to their viewpoint about Black Americans, asserting that we Asian Americans are not like them. Instead, we are studious, ambitious, and industrious individuals. Living right in the middle of the George Floyd uprisings was terrifying and unexpected. How could my home state, Minnesota, be like this? How could my own parents reinforce ideas of anti-Blackness? And that's when it hit me. We were never taught to engage in the forgotten history of racial tensions in Minnesota or throughout the whole nation. While I knew what it meant to live as part of a racial minority in a country that alienates them, others who have never lived those experiences cannot understand their perspectives if they were never taught them. Moreover, if those who benefit from the racial hierarchy are able to keep minorities fighting amongst each other, we will never learn how to act in solidarity and rise against the status quo. I joined the Youth for Ethnic Studies Coalition in hopes of implementing ethnic studies into our school's curriculum by talking with state legislators, speaking in conferences, and hosting workshops for teachers and students. I realized that the law and politics deeply affected my life as a woman of color and my community, making me passionate about attaining a bachelor's degree in political science to understand the depths of the American government to better advocate for minorities. I continue advocating for political rights of Asian Americans in Minnesota as a community canvasser at the nonprofit Asian American Organizing Project, or AAOP. I extensively phone banked and went door-to-door canvassing, informing young Asian Americans about their voting rights to amplify their voices in American politics. After my wonderful experiences working with other youth at the Youth for Ethnic Studies and AAOP, I wanted to find other opportunities to empower youth voices. Thus, I became a History Day mentor with the Minnesota Historical Society. I knew firsthand how difficult middle school and high school can be for those who come from marginalized backgrounds. This experience led me to double major in history, since I loved how empowering history can be, not only for me, but for others. I did not find out about the Community Engagement Scholars Program until my third year, but insisted on joining to learn about the essence of community work and reflect on my experiences. I came to realize that community engagement has provided me with a stronger sense of identity and self. Growing up in the Twin Cities, I have never learned anything about race, ethnicity, gender, and class until I started noticing why I felt differently from my peers. It wasn't until through my community work that I finally understood my place in the world and how I can advocate for change. I learned new values, how to give empathy, and how to learn alongside the community. I also realized my strengths and weaknesses as a community organizer, thriving in leadership positions, but sometimes authoritative and prejudiced against those without an education. I am still trying to undo the inherent biases and privileges that I have when doing community work. Community work has allowed me to find meaning in work. When I was younger, I had no idea what I wanted to do, but now I have dedicated my education, career, and life goals to make meaningful changes with community members. As Parker Palmer describes in Let Your Life Speak, following my inner voice has led me to community work and lifelong advocacy. My deep gladness is staying true to myself as a caring and compassionate individual. While it is not necessarily the world that creates the deep needs in our society, but rather humans, I have worked in spaces to address racism, violence, education disparities, and wealth inequities in the Twin Cities. Although I care deeply about community work, it takes more than one to start a revolution. That's why I joined the CESP Leaders Board. It wasn't simply about volunteering, it was about sparking a movement in my classmates. I wanted to see their eyes widen at the stories of injustice, to witness their hands rise in eager volunteer signups, just like mine once did. This burning desire for change led me straight to the path of law, where I want to study constitutional and civil rights law. I can use the knowledge gained in law school as a weapon I will wield in courtrooms, fighting for the voiceless. Whether on the CESP Leaders Board or arguing a landmark case, I will make sure to address these deep needs and concerns in our communities. No matter the title I earn in the future, the advocate within will never be silenced.